let's go into how you grew up in Chicago, man.
Man, originally I'm from the south side of Chicago, so West Chatham,
Okay.
79th. So, uh, growing up, I went to Covenant Faith. So most of my family, they live in the hundreds.
In the hundreds, okay,
So
the
yeah,
wild
so
hundreds.
yeah, well, my grandma is really in the Wild Hundreds.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say it's not the Wild Hundreds, but my other family, they stay in like Blue Island. And,
Okay.
you know what
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
But I spent, most of my time in my grandma's crib, and then my church is, by my grandma's crib as well. So that was pretty much like the upbringing, very much so Southside. And my pops worked in streets and sanitation when I was a kid. So
Okay.
he, first started off in like, kind of detailing like, those hard like winters and stuff like that, like laying the salt down.
Yeah.
Then he got to a point where he was more of like, working with like the trucks and the garbage men and stuff like that.
Hey, that was big money back then, though.
That's huge
That
money.
was
That's
good.
that's
It's
huge
still
money
big
and
money to
huge
this day.
responsibility.
Yeah.
My uncle foreman there.
Y'all know how the weather gets, especially in the winter in Chicago. He'll be out there.
Brutal.
You know what I'm saying? Like he'll come back by the time we about to head out. He'll still take us to school type. So that was the type pops I had.
Yeah.
And then eventually, he got into politics. He worked with Harold Washington. He was, he was there when he passed. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So super interesting. Role model. And that's
You
like my best friend.
You remember anything about Harold when you was younger?
Nah, man, I was a super duper shorty. I remember, later on, my pops also worked with like Obama, so like I
Right.
remember Obama in the early days.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
a lot of people, and I of course I see Obama nowadays, so like I also reconcile with it, but I always remember, Barack is like this skinny dude with like this deep voice.
Yeah.
Right.
So like I have a different, perspective. And then just also of how he wasn't the president at
Right.
that time. So
Yeah.
like the way
He was
carried
a
himself.
senator.
Yeah.
Exactly. And he used to walk down this just like, so I have a different perspective of him, not so much Harold.
Yeah.
But then I went to Skinner School too. So went to school on like kind of like the west side. Now it's like the West Loop. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly.
But one of my best friends that I graduated with, Walter Bennett, is now the alderman over there. So just man, like super interesting Chicago upbringing. I really was like on a lot of different sides. I went to high school at Urban Prep, so East West Garfield campus, and then I went to Bronzeville and graduated from there. So just
Yeah,
man,
you
like,
moved
skipped
around.
all
You moved around, so
Yeah.
you pretty versatile
For
when it
real,
comes
man,
to
yeah.
Chicago. You probably got a lot of people like, I went to school with him.
Literally, I swear,
school
it's so many people. I was one of those kids who didn't want to be, you know what I'm saying? So we all had it, like, but like I had like the 5,000 friends on Facebook and like the mutual connections. I still don't know like 70% of the people, but like I was one of those kids that, I would be one to adventure and travel outside the neighborhood, which, still isn't common. But even back then, like a lot of us was like, trying to, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I got my best friend with me too, Forever Band. He up here with me. So we used to
Shout
be,
out.
you know what I'm saying? He from my same neighborhood. He
Yeah.
went, to school downtown too. So like we used to, you know what I'm saying?
79th though. 79th was 79.
Off
Yeah.
the nine.
Yeah.
79.
For sure.
So y'all grew up where it wasn't Mayberry over there.
Nah, I mean like, the way that I always like to think about it is like, it's so interesting. And like this is the perfect podcast to really get into it and kind of break it down is like, the perspective that I feel like Chicago gets a lot of times is based off the misunderstanding, but also the capitalizing of misunderstanding. You get what I'm saying? From like a different community. So like, cause I like, I pay attention to all types of shit, like a lot of movie storylines and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like niggas be like, oh, he's from Chicago. Like
Right.
just all of a sudden out of nowhere, like the last 10 years, like it's hot as fuck for Transformers, Batman, like everything in Chicago. And it's not just because we raw as fuck, which we are. It's also because even in the entertainment space, they understand all the ideas that are tied to being from Chicago. So you could
For
just
sure.
say, hey, this nigga's from Chicago, and all of a sudden he got a background story.
You're right.
For real. And it works like that too, because like I said, I went to Urban Prep. So I went to school with 100% black males that were from the same kind of neighborhoods as me.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of those children, when we would travel, because they, it was a great school, and we would go to these HBCUs and these different trips, first thing they ask us is like, where y'all from? As soon as we say Chicago, they,
Yeah.
So it's a reality that there is a lot of propaganda around Chicago, and like I said, being somebody that has not just grown up like in one area of Chicago, but like on the south side, on the west side, went to school on the north side. Like it's a thing where even a lot of people that aren't from our community will tell you like niggas got Chicago misconstrued. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I would say like, of course, 79th, just like a lot of other places, it's not like all roses and whatnot. But the community sense that belongs like in our neighborhoods, like not just 79th, but like the low end, like the Hunters, like even like, you know, like 35th and like in Bronzeville area, like the history of it, the food, like you can't get it nowhere else. You know what I'm saying? It's almost it's an interesting space because it's like a lot of times based off how sometimes it's promoted.
Right.
I get motherfuckers come to Chicago. I'll be trying to take them to Pearls or Chicken and Waffles. Not even far.
Right.
They be like, you want to go out south? I don't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, you missing out on the best shit. Like, what do you want me to? You get what I'm saying?
Then it's the weird ones be like, you from O Block?
Oh, bro, you feel me? Or just fuck, are you from there? Niggas want to go there.
Go to O Block, yeah.
It's like, can we go to O Block? It's like, nigga, what? Like, you wanna go to Michelle Obama girl, nigga? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Like, I'm not even finna go past there. I'm from here and don't even know we love O Block, but we know what it was known for.
You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting too, like, you know, cause like I even have people that they not even from O Block, like from Chicago, and like they might have ties or whatnot, and they be like, yeah, I'm gonna go shoot a video at O Block. And I feel them, but like I'm like, you feeding into what the outside niggas is. You feel me? Like, you know what I'm saying?